What up, YouTube family? Today we're gonna go ahead and react to Louis C.K.'s Jesus. Now, I already did a Christian version of a Louis C.K. joke slash stand-up a while back. I'm gonna go ahead and link it down below. This is gonna be another part. In fact, I know Louis C.K. has a whole, I think, set on called Back to the Garden or something like that, where I think he reads the Bible. I don't know too much about it. I've only seen a few clips that are like about a minute and a half long or so. I didn't want to do reactions to those because they're just so short. However, I found the polar opposite because his video is 13 minutes long. Usually my longer videos don't do very well. However, I'm gonna see what Louis C.K. has to say. I'm a big fan of comedy. I'm a big fan of his. I want to see what he's gonna have to say to the people, and let's go ahead and watch it together. I have my pen and paper for some notes, and I'm excited for a good laugh. I even brought some coffee. Excuse me.
You know what I was thinking about today?
What?
I was thinking about Jesus.
Amen.
I was. Today, I was thinking about Jesus. And after I came... Well, I feel sorry for Jesus. That's how I feel. I don't know how much you know about Jesus, but I feel fucking bad for Jesus, man. I do. He had a hard life. I mean, the last day was particularly difficult, but...
Yeah.
If you look at pictures of him, he had to wear that thong, that fucking just dish rag yanked up his balls. Just, carrying his cross like, fuck, just a rash. Some people say you should live like Jesus. Who can live? He was insane. You can't live like that. He had a weird life. I'm reading about Jesus. I have this book about Jesus. I'm going to share it with you.
I'm guessing this is the part where he pulls out a Bible. I can't see anything because it's just an audio, but if you know, you know, let me know, because I don't know anything.
This is a book about Jesus.
That's funny. That's a good segue.
Only this much is about Jesus. Only that, just that part.
Probably the New Testament.
The rest of it is just the Jews going like, and then we walked for 50 years in the desert, and we only had a little bit of oil. It was difficult. It's just, it's fucking verbose. The Julia just Jews. It just goes on and on. And then Jacob bought a goat, and Abraham lived to be 800. Yeah, I bet he fucking did too. The Jews in the early chapters are all like 800 years old. And then God was like, I can with these fucking Jews for 800 years. Disease starts today.
Oh God, that's funny.
So that's them. And that's Jesus. All those little parts, Jesus. And the weird part is it's not all like it's all the same story over and over again. They tell the same story about Jesus' life over. First Matthew tells it, and then Mark is like, dude, that's not what. I'm fucking drunk. Here's what happened.
No.
I'll tell you what happened. Hey, Paul, you weren't even here. Shut the fuck up. And I started reading it because I never read it. I was raised Catholic, but they don't encourage you to read in the church. They don't want you to read this. You know, Jews read this shit in Hebrew. And Baptists sit down, they read together. But the Catholics, they want you to come in the building. They want you to come in, and they tell you. And you're like, can I read it? They're like, no, I'll take it.
That's hilarious.
Sorry, put the book down. But it's interesting because when you read the stories, you know, you think of them as lofty, kind of like, but some of them are just basic life.
Yeah.
In the Jesus, like, okay, here's one. This is when he turned water into wine. This is his first miracle. This is John chapter 2, okay? Okay, and on the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee. And the mother of Jesus was there. And both Jesus was called and his disciples to the wedding. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus saith unto him, they have no wine here.
Oh, this guy's intelligent. He's funny, man.
And Jesus saith unto her, woman, what have I to do with thee?
I knew it, yep. It's like
just life. Mary was a fucking alcoholic.
woo!
To a wedding, and there's no fucking wine, Jesus.
Do something.
I'll sit here without wine. And he's like, Mom, don't.
That was funny.
Anyway, you know the rest of the story is that Jesus, he's at the wedding, they had no wine. The guy, so Jesus went to the guy running the wedding and he was like, look in the water barrel. Like that, like a close-up magician. Why don't you take a look?
Get a load of
It's
this.
not the Red Queen. Go ahead, flip that card over. What do you think?
You think this is coffee?
Told him to look in the water barrel, and he looked, and it was wine. He had turned all their water into wine. Everybody rejoiced. Except the guy running the wedding was probably like, we did need some water. Actually a bigger problem.
We have no water.
I have a feeling a lot of his miracles were met with mixed. Like, thanks. That's great, Jesus. Fuck. Like Lazarus. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. And Jesus comes to town and he says, Lazarus, rise. And Lazarus comes out of the tomb like, and Lazarus' wife is like, are you fucking kidding me right now? But so here's a story though I want to read to you.
I read
This
it too.
story, I've never seen it in a Jesus movie. This story is not in any movies about Jesus. And it's not, I've never, until I sat and read this, I never heard this story.
Okay.
Because it's weird.
I'm
This is
listening.
the story of Jesus cursing a fig tree. Does anybody by applause know of this story?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just enough. to
Ain't
make
no
sure
fruit.
This is true. I mean, it's not, nothing's true in here. But, I'm just kidding. I don't fucking know. What do I know? I wasn't there.
I wasn't
Just
there.
trying to make it clear that I didn't make it up.
Good save.
They did. But anyway, I don't know. Okay, here's the story. This is Mark chapter 11. It's when Mark went broke. Okay. And Jesus entered into Jerusalem, and when he had looked around about and seen all things, and the eventide was come, he went out unto Bethany with the 12. See, Bethany was like a suburb of Jerusalem. So he went in Jerusalem. You know, you see all the shit downtown, but you don't stay downtown.
No
You go
doubt.
to the Marriott by the airport. That's what Bethany was. Okay? And on the morrow, when they come from Bethany, Jesus was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off, having leaves, he came to it, if haply he might find anything thereon.
No doubt.
But when he came to the tree, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of figs was not yet. And Jesus answered and saith unto the tree, no man shall eat fruit of thee hereafter and forever.
Oh my. My defiant rebuke.
And the disciples heard it. And in the morning when they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots and dead. And Peter, calling to remembrance, saith unto him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou dost cursest has withered away and died. And Jesus answered and saith unto them, have faith in God.
Okay. Yo, Louis. The way he reads it is so like,
What the fuck kind of a Jesus story is that?
yeah. He reads it like, what's going on?
Hey, Jesus, you killed a tree. That's right, motherfucker.
Sure did, you know, I get it. That's hilarious.
What's the fucking point to this story? What is the moral? Jesus just killed a tree. He was hungry. He was fucking cranky. He was like, there's no figs. Fuck you, tree. You're fucking piece of shit. I wanted a fig. You're fucking dead. Watch this. And the
Yo,
tree's
watch
like,
this.
The time of figs is not yet. It's just not yet. I need another week. You want fruit out of season? Go to Whole Foods, you fucking Jew. You can't act like that, man. You can't act like that.
I was like, yo, Jesus, chill, man.
You walk around acting like that, folks will nail you to a cross. That's what they'll do.
I knew it. I was like,
Fucking cool it, Jesus.
yeah. I knew he was gonna say something like that. Like, I
He got
just.
a little, That's really what happened. Got a little shitty. A little big, He went to Jerusalem. It's a big town for a boy from Galilee.
Yeah.
And he didn't just walk into Jerusalem. He walked in, and his friends were like, "King of the Jews, y'all!"
Yo, pulling up.
The Jews didn't like that. The Jews were like, "Not my president," whatever,
Okay. That was funny, dude.
So they nailed him to a cross. This is what they did. And that's the weirdest thing to me about Catholicism and all Christianity is this image. This image is the image of the biggest, most powerful religion, the cleanest religion. And it's a fucking dead guy with nails, just blood. And it's in every polite room in the world. Every nice, quiet place is a fucking Jesus.
Dying on a cross, suffering.
And his wife, and they wear pearls, and then we always go to look at the fucking. It's just weird.
I get it.
Because it promotes nicely ideas like honor thy mother and thy father. Because they. It's just macabre. But I love it. I love the image. I love it.
Of course he does.
I was raised Catholic my whole life. I love this image. I stare at it. Every time I go by a church, if it's open, I go in because I want to see their Jesus. They all have a different Jesus. They're a little different.
Yeah.
Some of them he's really suffering. And some of them he's just like, oh, well.
He's like, just another Tuesday.
I really got myself in a noodle this time.
Mm-hmm. Just out here hanging around, literally.
Sometimes it's just a cross. Like, oh, fuck, where'd he go?
I mean, he's not on the cross.
Mm-hmm. But they're all different. I was in a Korean church, and I saw a Korean Jesus. They had a Korean Jesus with the... Don't get mad. How else would I know?
I can't see.
What Korean Jesus? Ugh, whatever.
I don't know what they're looking at, but it sounds funny.
Jesus looks different. Mostly Jesus has blonde hair and blue eyes, which we know he didn't have, but that's who won everything, so they get to draw him.
Right.
The truth is Jesus was black, but you don't see that often. Black Jesus. Hey man, get me the fuck down from here.
Sounds like Cat Williams. A Cat Williams Bible
but
special.
Everybody wants Jesus to look like them, so they they draw him to look like them. That's why I don't like that he's always skinny. Jesus always railed and just fucking, I've been doing Pilates for months getting ready for this.
Yeah, Jesus is all like sucked up and like
fair.
skinny.
You never see a fat Jesus.
That's true.
I never one time saw like just a fat Jesus.
I mean, he was a carpenter.
With like 10 nails in each hand.
The light's shining.
He might have been fat.
He might have.
I'll tell you what Jesus was not, is Korean.
Right. That's a good way to tie it up.
Koreans in Jerusalem.
Right.
In the year 1.
Oh my gosh. That was hilarious. Oh, that was good. It's hard to understand as a Christian, these comedians who speak so vulgar of the stories, yet a lot of times some people get saved through that. Like, I'll be honest, sometimes when I'm like out in the streets, whatever, like not on this YouTube platform or with my friends, and we talk about God, we get to cussing, we get to talking like sailors. We're like, yo, what the F was Jesus thinking? Like, you know, I'll be honest with you guys, I've done that. You know, I don't understand why people expect such perfection when it comes to being in the faith. I understand there's so many verses that talk about behavior and language, looking upright and doing all these things, you know, and I get it to not combine good and evil, but yet, like, I sometimes understand that we are fish out of water, you know, we're against nature. The Bible says the heart of man is desperately wicked. It seeks evil, you know, like, I understand that, you know, but I rather say evil things than do evil things, even though, yes, I'm aware that Jesus says even saying these things is just as bad as doing it. But then all the more promising to believe that how powerful is Jesus, that he forgives every sin, right? So it's one of those things that, like, that I guess every Christian has a struggle with. It's like when, I don't know if you guys ever remember that Sway in the Morning interview with Lecrae. So Sway in the Morning is a very secular station. Lecrae is a Christian rapper, goes on it. I don't know if Sway asks him if he's like, yo man, do you say the N-word? And I thought that was hilarious. I don't know where that clip is at. If you guys can find it or recommend it, or maybe I could react to it, that'd be funny. But for what I know, it's one of those things that, like, it's awkward, but not really. Lecrae says, I don't remember what if he says yes or not, but point is that what Louis did here was a unique thing. So I'll be honest, Louis C.K. off rip, he knows the Bible. He sure does. He knows the Bible, he knows what it says, he knows what it's about. And I like how he reads it from a realistic standpoint of, like, do you think maybe Jesus had a rash when he was carrying that cross and he was wearing those rugged clothes? You know, Bible says he was clothed in royalty before he was hung, right? Because he was a king. And I don't know how he was robed, I don't know where he had it, whatever. Like, I get it, you know, I understand Louis C.K.'s perspective and point of view when it comes to how he thinks, like, how he interprets, like, Jesus to be wearing his clothes and stuff like that, you get me? So I get that. Something I want to think about is that when he's preaching to the Louis is, like, talking to the multitude. He really is. Before I get any further, let's go to ChatGPT and find out the verse in the KJV. Philippians 1:18, what then? Notwithstanding every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is preached, and I therein do rejoice. Yea, I will rejoice. So that whole verse is pretty much, regardless of the motives, the word of God is being announced. The word of God is being said. Jesus' name is in your mouth, basically. And Louis C.K. is doing exactly what that verse is talking about. Whether he knows it or not, he really is, like, saying those things, you know? Like, he's kind of like Kanye in a lot of ways, you know? Kanye was such a genius in that, like, I get it. Kanye got so many secular stations and like, you know, and hip hop stations and secular stations to say Jesus is king. He got the entire, like, music world to say Jesus is king, and got a bunch of artists on these songs, whether unreleased or not, to glorify God. Kanye married the American royal family of the Kardashians and talked about Jesus for a minute. Whether it was long term or not, it was still said. Louis C.K. in the same manner is understanding that, like, this might be the only way to share the gospel, so I'll do it my way. Is it wrong? Who am I to judge? Is it funny? 100%. But is it unorthodox? Sorta, kinda. But he's getting his point across. He really is. You know, and he talked about, like, the Baptists and Catholics and stuff like that. So he knows, like, he is a man. I feel like Louis C.K. is a man of recurring faith and or aware of faith as a whole. Like, he grew up Catholic, yes, but it seems like he was almost trying to find his path when it comes to how much he knows about certain, like, Bible churches, whatever, you know? So I like that about him. He's reading from the KJV, so that's good. It kind of reminds me of, like, that. I don't know if you guys have seen nowadays the Bible Project or not, the Bible episodes or webisodes. It's like this, the Moses episode, it's like this comedy / The Office take on the book of Exodus and Moses, and they're funny, and it's not blasphemous, and it's crazy. I'll put a clip here or I'll link it down below, but it's pretty much just like that, making comedy out of Bible stories, whether they're funny or not. You know, it's just adding this humanistic standpoint, and I think the Bible series does something similar to that as well. I have yet to see it, but point is that, you know, these things do take place. Making Christianity into comedy is a very prevalent thing. I like how, interestingly enough, through the middle, Louis C.K. was like, I don't know who made this up, who wrote it, I don't know, it's all made up, like, and the crowd just went nuts. Like, I understood that part, but either way, even if the crowd was there to see Louis C.K. not talk about God, they still cheered. But regardless, Louis C.K. still kept talking about the Lord. Like that was his whole premise. You know, I don't know where he pulled up the Bible from or if he even did, but the point is like he looked at the crowd, he saw that they were definitely like, wow, they don't really want to believe in God, or they don't want to know about Jesus, or they don't want to hear it. They're here to watch comedy and to feel good, not be judged. So let me just go ahead and continue reading and make the Bible story funny for them. Like that's how I'm interpreting it. Like I feel like Louis C.K. is fully aware of what the crowd did, and he read on anyways because the show must go on. I like the idea of like he goes to different churches and he's like, hey, Jesus is on the cross, but not really. He's there, but not really. So I thought it was interesting. Aside from all that, like Louis C.K., I just, took my notes, whatever. Aside from all that, Louis C.K. is hilarious. I like what he did here. I want to watch the whole version of it that's out there, the Back to the Garden, whatever, where he reads more of the Bible. I think Jordan Peterson has a whole psychological segment on the Bible as well. It's so interesting to see how many people of the world are coming to understand who God is and who Jesus is, and are just developing this idea that there's more to God than meets the eye. And not that saying we're at end times or so on and so forth. We should all just rejoice that the beautiful message of the gospel is being preached, right? Louis C.K. did a wonderful job. He did a hilarious job. I can't say it's how I would go about it. I've already made a platform here, but if I start cussing like a sailor, if I start telling you my jokes or the dirty things I would say, I would cease to be the version that I want to be here, and it takes away from my authentic self. I don't want people to like meet me or see me, or if I blow up or become famous, whatever. I doubt it. Like I want to be authentic to who I am on YouTube and who I am like when the camera's turned off. And Louis C.K., honestly, he has a spotlight on him, so he's doing whatever he can to be his honest self. And maybe him reading the Bible is a version of that. It is a version of perhaps maybe his cry for help. He's doing it on his own. I have no idea who's talking to him about the gospel, who's talking to him about the Lord. But the fact that he knows it, talks about it on stage, makes a comedy special of it, and just shares it to the world publicly, that's a good thing. That's a sign. So whether for good or evil, in pretense or in truth, whatever the motive is, Jesus is being announced. Louis C.K. did a great job. I thought it was hilarious. I can't say anybody can be saved from that, but if Louis C.K. ever does a sermon, I'm pretty sure it'll be a hilariously good one. So we'll see how it goes from there. Blessings, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a long one, but grab your popcorn and whatever. Enjoy it. Peace.